Hello, hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your May 2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're a sun, moon, or rising Sagittarius. And I'm having a lot of tech issues right now with all of my stuff, so I'm not doing my normal edits on this video. So I hope you guys bear with me. I'm going back to my old filming setup temporarily, and then once I figure all of that stuff out, then I'll get back to normal. So I'm gonna lay this spread down, and while I do that, just notice and pay attention to anything you want to have come up during this reading. Request whatever information it is that you need. And as always, the decks that I'm using for this reading are listed in the description box if you're wondering what they are. And I hope you guys enjoy, so I'm just going to lay this timeline down and then we'll get into it. All right, so let's start with the truth bomb first thing for you. Okay, we have tell people how you feel. So be really authentic with your emotions this month. I think it's gonna serve you really well, because if you're hiding behind them, then they're gonna have a lot of power, more than you probably want them to. So make sure you're expressing it and kind of releasing the pressure from that valve. And that's what this is reflecting. The best policy this month is going to be communicate authentically. Don't worry about what other people need to hear or anything like that. This is more about your personal expression. And then the animal card for you this month is raccoon. I think that you're going to need to go through and revise and kind of dig through whatever old ideas you have or old inspiration you might have. It's going to be a good time to just go through and check in, see if there's anything that you can extract from that might have value in present time. It's like you want to go through and turn old things that maybe you used to use or that you may have moved away from and kind of compost that. And then let's see what the word of the month is for you. Visibility. This is tied to telling people how you feel. Claim your bright light. Your perfect co-creators are seeking you out. Allow yourself to be seen. It is safe to be witnessed. Okay, especially when it comes to your emotions, that's going to be a big thing for you this month. It is safe for you to communicate those important aspects that you might otherwise be trying to hide. So don't hold yourself back this month. Now, the central energy for you in May is the 10 of Wands. Is this the 10 of Wands? So, and the big thing here is that you might be in a space of overwhelm, overexertion, doing too much, kind of stretching beyond your limits. And I think that you might be trying to juggle too much or do too much. So make sure you're paying attention to decluttering when you can. That's going to be an important thing to keep in mind this month. What you have shifting out is the Lovers. Let me get a clarifier for this, because for some of you, this may have been like a change in your priorities or how you were making decisions. And then for others of you, this is probably going to be a person. So let's see. Queen of Cups. So perhaps, you know, some of you have kind of said goodbye to a person or even like a group of people that no longer resonates with you. On the other hand, this could also be, you know, you leaning into focusing more on that emotional piece, like maybe prioritizing that over other things that you have going on. Like, you know, we have visibility and tell people how you feel. And both of those are kind of reflecting back. This is going to be more of a sensitive time. And I think that's how you're really making progress, is through making decisions based on how you feel. That's going to be a big thing. Not fleeting emotions, but rather the intuition, the part of you that speaks up when the mind is quiet. That's what intuition is. Let's look at the oncoming energy for you. Yeah, King of Cups. So this is looking at, you know, except for those of you that are dealing with like people leaving your space and decluttering in that regard. This could be the arrival of someone better. This could also be you kind of coming into mastery over emotions. That's what the King of Cups represents. That's what the King of Cups is gifted at, and that's what he models for us. And so remember that whatever your process is, whatever it is that you have going on, at the end of the day, all evolution is going to point you in the direction that you need to go. And there's no, there's no like wrong way to do this. I think you're just kind of going to have to ride the wave and communicate through whatever it is you have going on. It's not, I want to be really clear, this isn't super potent energy. I think that you're going to have a lot of flexibility this month. In all honesty, I think it's just about the amount of progress that you make, or the amount of manifestations that roll in, or the amount of healing that you do is going to be directly tied to how much work you're willing to do. It's not going to happen unless you kind of light that fire yourself. And that's why I think this reading isn't, it's highly dependent on your level of effort. Let's see, up here, this is like the outer world. The external influences, people, situations. We have Temperance. Oh, yeah. So because you have the Temperance card showing up here, I'm getting that, like I said earlier, this is a flexible month. It is going to be really fluid. There's a large part of this. The Ten of Wands really isn't that big of a deal, in all honesty, because there's so much of the Ten of Wands energy that is exclusively based on your priorities. And it's like, you know, being overwhelmed and overworked in many regards is a choice to a certain extent, right? Because there's always a way to either lighten your load a little bit, prioritize different things, shuffle a few things around. There's so many creative solutions that even if you have a lot on your plate, there's always the option of delegating, putting something aside, you know, asking for help. And so because that's the central energy, it's like it does require you to be flexible in your thinking, and it also requires you to be honest and let people know and clue them in on what's going on. This isn't a good month to shut people out, I can tell you that. It's going to be a lot easier if you involve people in what's going on with you. And then we also have the Seven of Pentacles. Casting a wide net, I'm getting that this is more like solutions are appearing, different ways of approaching this month and the challenges that might arise. You know, there's typically something we're always working on or we're always trying to figure out. And so this is a month where you really see that unfold. And the more you're asking for solutions to appear, the more they will. I know that people forget to do that a lot of the time. If you're dealing with something, if you're struggling in some capacity, remember that you can ask for ease. You can ask for things to move a little bit faster. You can ask for things to get a little bit easier, to find some relief or a solution that maybe you haven't thought of yet. So just keep that in mind. It's not like manifestation is not for material goods. It can be a lot of other things as well. So don't sell yourself short. And now let's look at what's going on with you personally. Okay, I have the Four of Cups. There might be something that you're being offered, but I don't think you have enough room on your plate. You know, that's what this pairing right here, the Ten of Wands and the Four of Cups, is showing me now, just because the Four of Cups technically is about refusing an offer or just saying no to something and turning something down. So let me see what else is coming up. And then we have the Seven of Cups. I'm going to clarify. I'm going to clarify these really quick. Child of Coins. So this is the Page of Coins in a normal deck. Now, here's the deal with this whole situation that you have going on. The Four of Cups is about saying no. Okay, so it's definitely that's an important factor here. You're not going to be able to say yes to everything. You're not going to be able to do everything each and every waking moment of the day. You only have so much energy, and that's what the Ten of Wands is kind of teaching you and reminding you this month. The Seven of Cups is more of a focus on having a lot of options. So I think that you're kind of blending these two together, which is don't necessarily say yes to something prematurely when you haven't examined all the other options. Remember, be flexible this month. Try your best not to come from a place of desperation or just wanting something to like be over and done with. You know, this is something you can really take your time to figure out, map out, and get everything together. So that's what this is showing, is like there's probably more options available to you than you realize, so you don't necessarily need to say yes to the first one that comes along. You can be a little bit more strategic this month. So the this page down here is just like the opportunities are going to arise when you show up and make yourself visible and start asking. That's how they start to come to the surface. But if you're not looking, or you're just in the space of reacting rather than manifesting or calling in the things that you want, then it's going to make it a little bit more difficult. So it's about being mindful of what you are allowing and what you're moving forward in, and also be careful with overextending yourself or saying yes to things that you really don't want to say yes to. Or that maybe you want to say yes to, but you don't have room for. Because it's going to perpetuate overwhelm. It's going to perpetuate fatigue and exhaustion. Now let's get into the timeline. So you have the first, second, third, and fourth quarter. This is where you start the month of May. We have the Five of Cups. Feeling a little bit confined and constrained. I'm not surprised. We started out with the Ten of Rods, and that seems to be, or the Ten of Wands, and that's the most important energy that you're dealing with, is how are you gonna deal with this, right? Because May is a flexible, fluid month for you, so you have the option of, you know, resisting it or just operating out of damage control. You also have the option of, you know, maybe getting some help or figuring out alternative solutions. And that's what the Five of Cups is reflecting here, is you might feel bound and confined and constricted, but that's not necessarily the case. It's kind of about getting the things to come to the surface that you're hoping for. And then the second quarter, we have the High Priestess. Be honest with your, like, trust your gut. Like, be honest with yourself about what you're needing. And when that manifestation arises or when that solution makes an appearance, you know, consider it and go with your gut. Now, maybe your gut is a little bit underdeveloped. So if you have a lot of wishy-washy experiences, I call that an underdeveloped gut, because it's kind of like your intuition is cluttered with fear-based thoughts coming from the mind. Okay, that's all that muddiness is. And so the High Priestess is either you might actually need to consult someone who's a little bit more neutral and can see all the different angles that maybe you haven't considered. So that's one way to navigate this if you're feeling like it's a little bit hard for you to do independently. Remember, there's other perspectives that you can get as well. That's not out of the question. So just keep that in mind. The best solutions are going to be ringing as yes within your gut. And you can definitely move forward with that. And then quarter 3, we have Temperance. So that's the same card that we had right there. This is about integration and balance and kind of finding those solutions. I think things really start to clear up in the middle of the month. Any stickiness, any frustration, the only exception would be like if you're addicted to stress, right? I know what that's like, and that might be a hard cycle for you to break. So if you're really drawn to taking on more than you can handle, then that's more of a long-term project that you might need to work on. But for those of you that are really working with what you have and trying to lessen the impact of the 10 of Wands, then it's really going to pay off this month, because you're gonna come to the realization that you really do have a lot of options. You do have a whole lot of moves to make. There's many potential solutions. So don't get sucked into an echo chamber of thinking there's no way out, because I promise you there is. And then the final quarter, wrapping up the month, we have the Empress. So this is about receiving, like I said, calling things in, but then actually receiving them. That's the second half. You can be great at manifesting and making things show up, but if you say no to them, then what's the point, right? So wrapping up the month, it's kind of like that's where this goes. That's where this is heading. It's all pointing you in the direction of saying yes and, receiving the things that you have been wanting and calling in. Now we're going to do a 3-card pick. So you're welcome to ask a question. You can ask for guidance, maybe just some extra info. And pick as few or as many cards as you'd like. Okay, card number 1. We have the 4 of Branches. So it's like you're bringing things together. Really, this is also the Happy Home card, so there might be quite an emphasis on domestic things of all varieties this month. It's also, you might have a lot of events going on. That's the other thing I'm getting from this. So home, events, and then kind of synthesizing everything that you have going on. Those are the 3 things that are coming up with this card. So however that's manifesting for you, it looks good. It's just for the events piece, make sure you're not biting off more than you can chew. And then card number 2, we have the 9 of Vessels, Make a Wish. This is the wishes fulfilled card. So you can either utilize that wish now, or this is like a strong yes card. Like, yep, things are coming to fruition. Yes, you're getting what you want. Yes, you're getting what you're wishing for. But I want it for those of you that are asking about relationship things, remember that if what you want is like a great partnership, that doesn't mean that, yes, your crappy ex who doesn't deserve you is coming back into your life. That's not what this means. So just keep that in mind. What you want and then what you're asking for might not totally be in alignment, and you can trust that anything that doesn't serve you is going to be swept away. So just I know that a lot of people ask that. It's one of the most common questions I get. So I just wanted to address that straight up. Now, card number 3, we have the Ace of Stones. Plant a new seed. This is going to be a good initiation month. But if you are feeling particularly burnt out and you're feeling really, really exhausted, then it's one of those things that you're going to have to carve out that energy for this endeavor or for the thing that you want. It's not just going to come overnight. Like, it's not going to be sustainable if you don't have the energy to sustain it. So be mindful of that. All right, my friends, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate you. And until next time, have a lovely rest of May. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you're wanting to work with me one-on-one, all of the links are in the description box, as well as all of the decks that I've used. So check all of that out. And until next time, have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.